Welcome in, episode 148, What's Right with Nick Wright. Ton to do today, and today's going to be a fast show. I am wrapped with anticipation for Lakers-Warriors Game 2 tonight, even though my guess is it will go the Warriors' way. We will explain that. We have a fun game to play later in the show. Diorra has been testing out. She does an amazing British accent. She was just wondering whether or not she should do that on today's show. We're going to save that for a later episode. We also have a personal call to action that we haven't done on What's Right before that we will do later in the show. But first, here's what missed. Jordan Love signing an extension with the Packers, but not really. Instead of picking up his fifth-year option, they are doing the equivalent for a little less money than the fifth-year option would have been. So a good financial move for them. I'm not sure exactly why Love and his representation accepted it, but so be it. LeBron, those scallywags at Chase Center.
Wow. I feel like we can't use that one again.
Why?
Scallywags?
Do you know the genesis of it?
Genesis
Yeah,
of
like
it?
where it's from, the etymology of the word.
Is it not from, like, pirates?
I don't think it's from pirates. I think
it is from pirates.
I actually think it's from the Civil War. But
you think they were calling people scallywags while pointing guns
so here's the thing. So the current definition of scallywag is a person who behaves badly but in an amusingly mischievous way, or a rascal. The etymology is it was a white Southerner who collaborated with Northern Republicans during Reconstruction, often for personal profit.
Didn't you say this was going to be a fast show? And now
it was. Well, you shouldn't have interrupted me. As I was saying, those rascals at Chase Center
only getting worse.
Not giving LeBron his baby powder for the chalk toss, that's outrageous. It was LeBron every game for 20 years has tried to put baby powder or chalk in his hands, throw it up. It's a great moment for the crowd. The Warriors ops people had the bottle there and had it empty on purpose. I'm on to you, Chase Center. And the Bucks not doing exit interviews. That's not in the show. Who is in the show is Diorra, freshly minted 18-year-old Diorra, who is in the show in place of DeMonze for the next month or a couple months. She's considering extending it through the summer. She wants to be paid for it.
The only way I'm going to keep doing this after my project is if I'm getting paid.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, we'll see how that works out. This is, again, as you will learn in your field of study, which is the performing arts and acting, we are paying you in exposure and opportunity. Diorra, what are we starting the show with today?
So today we're going to start with how DeMonze was right.
Okay.
I guess the Celtics really didn't have to worry. The 76ers got the MVP back in the lineup and were blown out. Didn't seem so valuable to me.
Okay.
But, okay.
Yeah.
Should Philly be encouraged by Embiid's return or terrified because they lost by like 1,000 points?
All right, neither is the answer. So here's the deal.
That wasn't an option.
Okay, well, but it's the correct answer. So it is now 15 consecutive series where if the home team lost game 1, they then win game 2. So 15 NBA playoff series in a row where the road team has had the chance to go up 2-0, they have not done it. We've seen it already. Just off the top of my head in these playoffs, Miami went up 1-0 in Milwaukee. They then lost game 2 in Milwaukee. Miami went up 1-0 in New York. They then lost game 2 in New York. The Lakers went up 1-0 against Memphis. They then lost game 2 in Memphis.
So the Lakers are going to lose tonight, right?
We'll get to that, but it's like history says yes. The Clippers went up 1-0 in Phoenix. They then lost game 2. The Sixers went up 1-0 in Boston. They then lost game 2. The home team almost never goes down 0-2 at home. And the reason for that is obvious but kind of multi-layered. The first one is the home team had the better regular season, typically is the better team, so they're not often going to lose those first 2 games. But more important than that is, even in the playoffs, there's different senses of urgency. The road team goes into the opening 2 games of the series saying, let's steal one, so they relax a bit if they win game 1, and the home team knows we've got to, at the very least, salvage a split here, so their intensity's all ratcheted up. So it was not a surprising result. Here is the disappointing part and the concerning part for Philly.
Definitely not going to be a short show.
It is going to be a short show. Maybe not with all your interruptions, but let me give the audience, the analysis of the game. The concerning part is Harden goes from the best game of his playoff career to one of the worst. He was 2 for 14. He was 0 for 6. He was a total non-factor. Another concerning part for Philly. They got annihilated with Jason Tatum having as bad of a game as he'll ever have in the playoffs. He made 1 shot. He scored 7 points. He was a total non-factor. Another at least slightly concerning part for Philly is Joe Mazzulla and Boston said they wanted to shoot more threes. They wanted to fix that math problem they were having. They got 50 threes up and made 20 of them, including 10 from Grant Williams and Malcolm Brogdon off the bench. So none of that's good. That then is going to lead to the question of, should the Sixers just have sat Joel Embiid? If they weren't going to win this game anyway, most likely, should they have just given him the extra 2 days of rest? I say no to that. And this is where I actually think you can take some solace if you're a Sixer fan. Embiid was going to be rusty, was going to be somewhat ineffective, I believe, in his first game back, no matter what. So getting that out of the way, I think, is a legitimate benefit. He didn't have to go huge minutes. He went 27 minutes. He was not very good offensively, but he had 5 blocks in the first half, and he seemed to be moving fine. So I know the knee is going to hamper him, but I didn't watch him and say, oh, he's a shell of himself. So all of that, to me, leads you down the road of believing this is going to be a long series. I said beforehand I liked Philly in 7 going on the road in a game 7 and winning. I know that's rare, but we did just see the Warriors do it. Them getting a split of the first 2 where they didn't have Embiid for game 1 and seeing that level of play from Harden in game 1 had to make you feel good. This was a game that would have been shocking if Philly had won. So yes, DeMonte was right-ish, but I do not think that this is massively concerning for Philadelphia. And here's the last thing I'll say about the Celtics here. When they are firing on all cylinders, offensively and defensively, they do look like the best team in basketball. They look like the best defense in the Eastern Conference, an offense that has 5 guys that can go get their own bucket. All of those things are positive. It is odd to me that even in the postseason, they are not consistently able to bring that level of effort night to night. But that's going to be a great series. It's 1-1. What's next, Diorra?
So, after crying about it for years, Embiid finally won the MVP.
Yeah.
There are a lot of problems with how this turned out, though. Embiid only played 80% of the games. Embiid never made it out of round 2, and his team is winning without him. And a big reason Giannis and Jokic didn't win 3 straight was due to a lack of playoff success.
Yeah.
With Jokic as dominant as ever, will we look back on this as a mistake in the future?
No. So, listen. Here's the deal.
You should turn that off.
Yeah, you're right about that. Giannis and Jokic didn't win 3 straight. Yes, in part because of a lack of playoff success, but also because guys don't win 3 straight. In the last 50 years, one guy has won 3 straight. It was Larry Bird, and he was already a multi-time champion. So, those guys didn't win 3 straight because it's almost impossible to win 3 straight. We have plenty of guys who won their first MVP prior to any postseason success. So Jokic won his first MVP before he had been to a finals. Giannis won his first MVP before he had been to a finals. Hell, Steph won his first MVP before he had been to a finals. He did end up going to the finals that year. We can go, LeBron had already been to a finals, obviously. Barkley won his first MVP before he went to the finals. He went that year. Akeem won his first MVP before he went to the finals. He won that year. Robinson won his first MVP before he went to the finals. He went a few years later. Jordan won his first MVP before he had been to the finals. That happens. It's not so much about you have to have had massive playoff success before you win your first. Historically, you have had to have significant playoff success before you get your second. Now, here is where it gets tricky for Embiid. And I'm going to do this off the top of my head, but I'd be shocked if I don't get it right. There have been 9 MVPs in league history that don't have a championship. 5 of them at least made a finals. So Barkley, Malone, Iverson, Harden, Westbrook. Those are 5 of the 9 ringless MVPs, but they made a finals. Of the other 4, 3 of them at least made conference finals. So that is Steve Nash, who did it 4 times, Derrick Rose, who did it once and then had, blew out his knee, and Jokic. Conference finals. There is one league MVP in history who has never made it out of round 2, and it is now Joel Embiid. So yes, Embiid does need to have a real playoff run, hopefully this year, if not very soon thereafter, or else it's not that the MVP looks bad, it's that he stands out as the only MVP in league history to have never been to round 2, or to round 3, pardon me. But I believe eventually he will break through. I obviously picked the Sixers this year for that breakthrough to happen, to get to the finals, and I still believe it will. What else you got on MVPs?
So why are you mad LeBron didn't get any votes for MVP when he missed 27 games and his team made the play-in?
Okay, I'm not mad at you. You guys are foisting this take upon me.
You have to.
Our group chat texted, "Oh my God, LeBron got no MVP votes."
Yeah, like, you got really upset.
No, I did not get really upset. I didn't. Listen.
No proof.
LeBron's been in the league 20 years. The way MVP voting works is you submit a ballot with 5 names. Every year of his career prior to this one, he had gotten at least one 5th place vote. And LeBron, I mean, if we're going to do this, we can do this. LeBron's history of top 3, top 5 MVP finishes is unlike anything we've ever seen or will ever see again. His rookie year, he finished in 9th. His second year, he finished in 6th. And then just listen to these next, 15 years. Here's LeBron MVP finishes. 2nd, 5th, 4th, 1st, 3rd, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 2nd. Then we get to the first year with the Lakers, 11th. That year, he shouldn't have gotten any votes. He was hurt, and they weren't very good. And then his second year with the Lakers, back in 2nd place. And then 13th and 10th the last 2 years, which basically means he got 1 vote in 5th place each of the last 2 years. And then this year, nothing. I'm just giving you the history. I'm telling you from 06 to 18, LeBron finished top 5 every single year. And from 06 to 20, a 15-season span, he had 4 firsts, 4 seconds, 3 thirds, a 4th, a 5th, and an 11th. He didn't deserve a vote this year. I have no problem with it.
That 11th was rough.
Now, well, he was hurt. He was first year with the Lakers. He was the first significant injury of his career.
He shouldn't have, quick defense.
He shouldn't have even gotten a vote, but he did. Now, with all that said, If LeBron's not going to get a single vote to keep the streak alive, I'm not sure how Ja got votes when he missed almost as many games as LeBron, and 8 of them were because he was suspended for bringing a gun to a strip joint. I'm not sure how Steph got some votes when his team won 1 more game than LeBron and he played 1 more game than LeBron. I'm not sure how my large adult Slovenian son Luka got votes when his team finished in 11th place. But I got no problem with LeBron not getting a vote. I am interested when the votes come out. Oh, people are saying Nick muted the text thread. You guys are texting me about bullshit during Lakers-Warriors. Like, it's rude.
You got to keep close eyes on your best friend.
I'm watching the game. I'm.
So is everyone else.
Yeah, but they're not that invested in it. Gabe is stirring stuff up. It's Matt's birthday, so he's obviously 3 sheets to the wind, just hammered. Guys, I'm watching Lakers Warriors, and you're texting me about old news. It was hours old at that time. Now, what I was going to say is, I got distracted. What was I going to say? I don't even remember what I was.
The show isn't going to be under the time.
It is going to be under the time. Next.
Hang on. Your Lakers stole game 1 behind a dominant showing from AD.
Yeah, who could have seen that coming? This guy right here.
But the win took just about everything from the Lakers' old guys, with LeBron and AD combining for 84 minutes.
Yeah.
With games every other night, LA won't have much time to rest up throughout the season. Was it smart for Darvin Ham to empty the tank so early in the series?
100%. It was a must-win game. They had to get game 1. Okay. Of all the games that are going to be in Chase Center, the one that was going to be easiest to get, the one they needed to get, was game 1. The Warriors were coming off a 7-game war. The Lakers were the more rested team. There were no adjustments, obviously. The adjustments were yet to be made. They had to get game 1. And they were dominant in game 1 until the final few minutes when they almost blew it. Had they blown it, utterly devastating, because they did fire multiple bullets in that game, and they don't have that many left in their gun for this series. So now, did Darvin Ham push it a bit by playing Anthony Davis the entire second half? And was he clearly gassed at the end of it? Yes. But they got through it and they got the victory. Tonight, very different story. Tonight, they are going to have to try to win or at least play even the non-AD minutes. Tonight, AD and LeBron, instead of combining for 84 minutes, should probably combine for like 74 minutes. Play 36 and 38 minutes respectively. And tonight, if you're the Lakers, I know it's not your style, but it's probably just bombs away from 3, see if we catch fire. This is not it would be shocking if the Lakers won tonight.
At least you can admit it.
Well, listen.
Listen.
Well, you are feeding into an incorrect narrative that I am some just sycophant as opposed to America's most trusted voice in sports.
You see, but you've named yourself that.
I've named myself what? America's most trusted voice in sports? No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
Reuters did. Look it up.
Reuters did.
So, here's the thing. I'm just giving you great gambling advice and good picks. That's all I'm here for, in my opinion on things. I said before the series, this series was going to follow the exact beats of the Memphis series. Lakers win game 1 on the road, games 3, 4, and 6 at home, and that's how they win the series. They lose game 2, they lose game 5. Now, if they were to win tonight,
furthermore,
obviously, the series would be over. You're not coming back from losing the first 2 at home. How could they win tonight? I said they got to be bombs away from 3, and AD would have to be great on both ends once again. And at some point, LeBron is going to make some shots. LeBron is 9 of 49 from 3 this postseason, which is just impossibly bad. But one more note on this Lakers-Warriors game 1. Teams never lose shooting the way the Warriors shot with the other team not shooting well. So let me just give you some facts. The Warriors got up 14 more shots than the Lakers, and they made 14 more threes than the Lakers, actually 15. In all of NBA history, if you're plus 14 in field goal attempts and plus 14 in threes made, every team that's ever done that has won every single time, except for that Warriors game. Steph and Clay combining for 12 threes in a playoff game. The Warriors going into game 1, that had only happened 9 times. They were 8-1. The Warriors under Kerr having 8 or fewer turnovers. That had only happened 11 times. They were 11-2. Teams that hit 15 or more threes than their opponent, regular season or the playoffs NBA history, that had happened 98 times. Those teams were 95-3. And the Warriors lost that game. Jordan Poole matched LeBron's scoring, and the Warriors lost that game. That is a brutal spot for the Warriors. You make 21 threes, the Lakers make 6. LeBron doesn't have a good game offensively, and you still lose. Incredibly ominous for them for the series. Incredibly ominous. I think this is a terrible matchup for the Warriors. They do not have the size, and I don't know what obvious adjustment they can make other than Steph save us. And that'll work for a couple games, but that will not work for 4 games. And the fact that the Lakers are 5-2 this postseason, 5-2, despite LeBron shooting the way he's shooting, that's terrifying for the rest of the league. One other note before we move on. I have in my pocket, figuratively, and we talked about it on this show when I made the bet, $1,000 bet on the Lakers to win the title at 50-1. Now, during football season, our very first NFL gambling show, I gave out a different 50-1. It was a Chiefs-Niners Super Bowl. And we got to the final weekend of the NFL playoffs, or the second to last weekend, and the Chiefs and Niners were still alive. And people were like, hedge, buy out of the ticket, whatever. I didn't. The Niners quarterbacks get hurt. It loses. Sorry, Diorra. But I had given the audience a 50-1 bet that with 2 weeks left in the NFL season was down to like 5-1. I then, 8 weeks ago, gave the audience the Lakers at 50-1. This morning, they are 5-1. So I don't hedge bets, but had you taken my advice and bet that, you could cash out right now for 10x the profit. I'm going to ride this to a 50-1 winner and pay for a year of Diorra at UC Santa Cruz. But I am en route to, there's all these alleged gambling shows out there and gambling experts. I've given you 2 50-1s.
Overtime. That
got down to 5-1 and falling already. We are a little late. Let's get to the last thing. Go ahead.
A lot of the discussion surrounding Warriors-Lakers have been about Steph versus LeBron. Steph has the most to gain. LeBron's legacy really only changes with the title. But is the person who with the most to lose in the series Kevin Durant? Looks like KD is about to fail with yet another super team. While LeBron and Steph are still competing for titles with good but not great teams, who do you think has the most to lose?
Well, listen, I don't consider the Suns a super team. But here's what I do think, and this is a good lesson for superstars across the league. the team hopping, build a super team path really only works for LeBron. So LeBron went to Miami and they won. He then went to Cleveland and they traded for Kevin Love and they won. He then went to the Lakers, who hadn't made the playoffs in 6 years, and they traded for Anthony Davis and they won. Other guys have tried this. None of them have succeeded. We'll get to Durant in a moment. You might be like, oh, well, Durant went to the Warriors. Different. Durant went to a team that had already won a championship, was added to it, and they won more championships. That's not the same. That is not what LeBron did. That is not what anyone had done. But we have seen Durant then go to Brooklyn, try to build it up. Kyrie go to Brooklyn, try to build it up. Doesn't work. Kyrie go to Dallas, try to build it up. Hasn't worked. Durant go to Phoenix. Doesn't look like it's going to work. Kawhi and Paul George go to the Clippers. Has not worked. We have seen now who has won. Giannis stayed, built, champion. Steph stayed, built, champion. Dirk, Duncan, Kobe, all those guys. Now you can say Kawhi with the Raptors, little different situation. That was not trying to build some super team. That was a team that had been competing at a very high level, needed one last piece, brought in Kawhi, they won. The idea that other guys can do what LeBron has done is foolish. No one has been able to do it. Nobody. People have tried. It has not worked for anyone but LeBron. That it create a team out of thin air through your own gravity and greatness. He's the only one who's been able to do it. The stick with the team, bring in other pieces to complement what I do, that has worked. It's what Denver is trying right now. We'll see if it works. It's what Boston is trying right now. They've come very close. It's what Philly is trying right now. Build around Embiid, draft Maxey, do these things, bring in Harden as a last piece. The get on my back, let's build a super team thing has worked for one guy only, LeBron. And he's done it in 3 places, so people think that it's easy. It's not. Now for Durant, he needs to be better. This is not a super team. This is not a deep team. We'll get to the Chris Paul injury in a moment. Here is what Durant, though, does need. He can't get swept back-to-back years, prior to the conference finals. I understand Shaq got swept 4 out of 5 years of his career, but they weren't round 1 sweeps, and they weren't when he was already apex prime Shaq. If people don't remember what I'm talking about, Shaq, I mentioned this on TV yesterday, I think. Shaq in 95 made the finals and got swept by Hakeem. In 96, made the conference finals and got swept by Jordan. In 98, made the conference finals and got swept by Utah. And then in 99, made the semifinals and got swept by Duncan and Robinson. That is not the same as being swept in round 1 and then in round 2. So the Nuggets are better than the Suns. The Nuggets are deeper than the Suns. The Nuggets are healthier than the Suns. The Nuggets can win that series, and that is not an indictment on Durant. But Durant cannot, absolutely cannot get swept in round 2 in the West after being swept in round 1 in the East. And also, by the way, I forgot 21-year-old Shaq got swept in round 1, but that was his 3rd year in the league, I think, by Indiana, and the very next year they made the finals. So that's what's on Durant. Can't get swept. Have an over-my-dead-body game, kick ass tomorrow night, and do that, and you're feeling better about where you're at. Little pressure on Denver for Game 4. Quick break, right back. What's right?
Welcome back, episode 148. So we're going to start with the CP3. CP3 is out again. This time it could lead to his team being swept. As it stands, Paul is on a short list of greatest players to never win a ring. But so much of the story in his career twilight is his injuries holding teams back. This guy is Kawhi without rings. Was it bad luck, Monty's fault, or can Booker and Durant extend the series long enough to make this question not matter?
All right, it is some bad luck. He has had early in his career, he did just have some bad luck with injuries. Now, he's one of the oldest players in the league. He's the second oldest player that actually gets minutes. The only guys older than him are Udonis Haslem, who does not play, Andre Iguodala, who does not play, and LeBron. And so, and he's a little guy. He's barely 6 feet tall, but this is also why what the Suns did with this trade for Durant was so risky, because they absolutely were trying to go all in on this year on winning a title when you knew you were trading away depth, you were trading away future ability to acquire depth via the draft or via trading draft picks for a team with a 37-year-old injury-prone point guard. And then Monty playing him 40 minutes a game in round one was an obvious risk that a lot of us saw coming, and I kept sounding the alarm on. So, listen, it's a tricky one. Chris Paul is one of the greatest players ever. And little guys being the best player on a champion, it's really just Isaiah and Steph. Little guys don't win championships as the best player. There is not a history of that. And Steph is bigger than Isaiah, and Isaiah is bigger than CP3. Not that any of them are big guys. And so, now to answer your question on can Booker and Durant extend the series long enough? No. Denver's better and deeper and healthier. And I didn't think Phoenix was going to be able to win with a healthy Chris Paul. Without a healthy Chris Paul, this could get really ugly. So I don't really... Listen, he made a finals finally a couple years ago. Last year was bad for him. They were the number 1 seed. They had the best record in basketball, and they fell apart against Luka. That was bad. But so what does this mean for if we're doing Chris Paul legacy stuff? Well, if you guys remember, on my 50 greatest players list, I'll tell you exactly where he was. I'm going to pull it up real quick. I think I had him 20 of the greatest players of the last 50 years. I had him 21st. So he's behind D. Wade. I have him behind Barkley, behind Mailman. Barkley and Mailman don't have rings. I had him right ahead of Garnett and Robinson, who do have rings. Ahead of Stockton and Harden, who don't have rings. That's just where he is. Like, as far as greatest point guards ever, if we expand it past the last 50 years, it's Magic, then Steph, then Oscar, then Isaiah, then Chris Paul. If he had won a ring, would he have jumped Isaiah? Maybe. Is he going to? He's not. And the Suns are going to have a really tough offseason, in large part because of what are they going to do about Chris Paul. All right, next.
So next we're going to play a game of right or wrong.
Yes.
So first up, the Grizzlies announced that Dillon Brooks will not return under any circumstances next year. He's bad at basketball and he talks trash. Given their record, this can only mean one thing. He's a future Laker. Lance Stevenson, Pat Bev, Russ. Oh yeah, it's happening. Right or wrong? Nick will embrace future Laker Dillon Brooks.
Wrong, but it's also not happening. 0%.
0%.
People are like, oh, the Lakers signed Lance. They signed Lance 5 years after his beef with LeBron. The Patrick Beverley thing was a disaster from the beginning, and they got rid of him. By the way, Patrick Beverley came out and said he wants a ring if the Lakers win a title. Give me a effing break, man. Now, he said Russ wants one too. I'm fine with Russ getting a ring. Russ gave it his all. They actually got real pieces back for Russ. That's fine. Patrick Beverley, who was a noose, it was a hindrance to the Lakers winning, was barely ever on the team. No chance. But They're not going to sign Dillon Brooks. Somebody will. Houston might sign him. Dallas, sneaky, could sign him. Add a little edge to the team. A defensive stopper alongside Luka and Kyrie. There are some. Dillon Brooks' career is not over, obviously. And Memphis, though, saying under no circumstances will we bring him back, felt personal, and it felt, listen, I'm no Dillon Brooks fan, but he was not their biggest problem this year. He was a problem. He was not their biggest problem. All right, next.
Okay, for years, the process was a joke in Philadelphia. Now, it's produced an MVP. Sam Hinkie was burned at the stake for his analytics and tanking, but it looks like it actually paid off. Right or wrong, the process actually worked.
So here's the thing. The problem with the process was multifold, in my opinion. One was they did not draft well in the process. The other was they did make a mockery of trying to compete, and they did it for 4 years. The Oklahoma City Thunder did their own version of the process. Took 2 years. They were in the playoffs in the bubble with Chris Paul. They then had 2 terrible seasons, and they were back competitive this year. 2 years. Philly went 19 wins, 18 wins, 10 wins, 28 wins. And here's the other giant problem with the process when I say they didn't draft well. They could have crushed the league in a positive way with the process if they had drafted better, but they didn't. So here's what they did. First year of the process, they draft Michael Carter-Williams, Syracuse guy, he won Rookie of the Year. It didn't matter. Not a very good player. Second year of the process, they get Joel Embiid. Home run, no doubt. They got him third. The reason he fell to third was because they knew that he wasn't going to be able to play his rookie season, or at least there was concerns, but that was fine with them because they didn't want him to play because they wanted to be bad. So that's great. This is where it gets bad, though. 2015 process. Jahlil Okafor at number 3. Devin Booker's in that draft. Kristaps is in that draft. A lot of people that are still in the league in that draft. 2016, Ben Simmons, number 1. Brandon Ingram and Jaylen Brown are the next 2 picks. The next year, they have the number 3 pick. They trade that pick and future picks to Boston to take Markelle Fultz. Jason Tatum goes 3rd, where they were originally drafting. So their problem wasn't so much that they... Oh, and by the way, 2018, they draft Mikal Bridges. SGA still on the board. They draft Mikal Bridges, who's awesome, and then trade him. So, for Zaire Smith. So the problem with the process was not, it was that it took too long and they didn't draft good enough players. Now, Embiid's awesome, so you can say it's vindicated. They probably got to make it out of round 2 to truly vindicate it. All right, next.
Okay. The Knicks tied up the series with Jimmy Buckets on the sidelines. Yeah. But Miami has till Saturday to rest up and take a commanding lead at home. Even though they nearly won without him, the Heat's lack of depth and firepower is only solved with playoff Jimmy. Right or wrong, the most important player left in these playoffs is Jimmy Butler.
I think it's wrong. I think it's close. I think the most important player in these playoffs is Anthony Davis 1, Steph Curry 2, Jimmy Butler 3. Because here's the thing. The Lakers can't right now win without AD. The Warriors can't win without Steph. The Heat damn near won a couple days ago without Jimmy. So he's on the very short list, but AD and Steph are ahead of him. Next.
Okay. So Aaron Rodgers is the guy without a demands list. Has gotten every one of his demands met. Weeks ago, we joked that the Jets are signing Cobb. Now they actually did, right or wrong. Rodgers has too much say in New York.
Right, to a degree. Listen, I don't think the Randall Cobb signing is going to drastically help or hurt them. My issue is not with the signing. My issue is with Rodgers once again being misleading with his public comments. He attacked Diana Russini for saying he had a wish list when he clearly did. He wanted them to sign Odell, they tried. He wanted them to sign Lazard, they did. He wanted them to sign Cobb, they did. We'll see about Mercedes Lewis. He said the Packers, never reached out to him. They were like, oh, we called him repeatedly. And then he's like, oh, they didn't. This really happened, Diorra. He was like, I have bad service in my house. They need to FaceTime me. I don't have any missed FaceTimes.
That's something I would do.
Yeah, of course that's something you would do. Not at a press conference when they're paying you $50 million a year. And then he also was, Josina Anderson tried to nail him down on, are you going to be around for the offseason? He's like, I'm here now. I'm going to be here tomorrow. Yeah, of course. He told McAfee a couple days ago, I'll be around for more than half of it.
So you think he has too much say?
I just think he's disingenuous. It goes back to the whole.
Sounds like a teenager.
Correct, and the whole it all started with him being asked about his vaccination status, and he was like, "I've been immunized," which everyone thought he was like, "Yeah, I've been immunized," and then kept going, and then we found out he never got vaccinated. And
isn't that mandatory to play, though?
Well, it's not mandatory to play, but it's if you're not vaccinated, you have different rules, and you got to wear masks and all this stuff. This is from a couple years ago, and he wasn't following them. And then he was like, he was just totally disingenuous with that because he was like, no, I took like a homeopathic remedy that I thought. No, he's gone off, and he's off the.
It's rough.
Yeah, and so I just feel like his public comments can't be trusted. I also don't think the Jets are going to be that good. Sorry, Gabe. Next.
Okay, Mahomes and Kelsey are taking on Steph and Clay in the next edition of The Match. This has to be the biggest stakes ever for an exhibition golf game for you. Right or wrong, you personally booked the match.
I didn't, but I think it's going to be awesome to see because Mahomes and Steph. What'd you say?
You're going to pull up on them?
No, well, that's interesting. Where is it?
I'm guessing it's in Kansas City.
No. It's going to be at a gorgeous golf course somewhere. It's going to be at.
Isn't there a really nice one?
Yeah, but not like I'm talking about. It'll be at one of the nicest golf courses in the world.
Gotcha.
Is the way they'll do it. And so I'm not sure where it is. I'm sure it's not Kansas City. No offense to Blue Hills Country Club or Hallbrook or wherever they would golf in Kansas City. Loch Lloyd. Mahomes and Steph are both extraordinary golfers.
Really?
Yeah, like Steph probably could be a pro golfer, honestly. And Mahomes is very, very good. A lot of these guys.
You haven't asked him to golf with you yet?
Well, I'm not a good golfer. And
Mahomes, I just got you to admit it because I feel like we've been on the same podcast.
No, I'm not.
You tried to convince everyone that you were a good golfer.
No, I did not say I was good. I said I was passable. Said I was a passable golfer.
I think we need to spin that back.
I said when we played in Hawaii, I was fine. I'm not. These guys are scratch golfers. I would slow them down. So here's why it's going to be fun, I think. Because I think Steph and Patrick are going to take it super seriously. And I think Kelsey and Clay, I think Kelsey will probably be 10 Bud Lights deep, and I think Clay will probably be high out of his mind. And so I think you're going to have like the goofball sidekick guy and the guys taking it really seriously. I think it'll be awesome. I think it'll be awesome to see. Now, you were asking if I want to be clear on this. Patrick Mahomes and I are not like buddies. We're friendly, but I would not feel comfortable being like, can we go golfing together? I would be comfortable asking Kelsey if we could go golfing together.
So you think you guys are friends?
Yes. Me and Kelsey? Yeah, I do. I do think me and Kelsey.
I think I need to make a Twitter just to tweet to him and ask him what he thinks about that.
Well, hold on a second here.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've met Nick.
No, that
seems like a nice guy.
No, let me hold on just a second here.
He's gonna try to pull up the receipt.
You're slandering me.
He's gonna try to pull up the receipt.
Well, I'm gonna show you something right now because I feel like you're being mean, and I don't think there's a need for this. So,
no, I believe that you speak to famous people.
No, it's not about speaking to famous people.
I think the only
It's about him sending me that picture. And yeah, no, Kelsey and I are pals.
On Instagram though, not on messages. It's not the same.
So, what?
It's not the same.
This is him telling me to have a good time in Brazil. Sorry that I couldn't go to watch him host Saturday Night Live. He invited me to watch him host Saturday Night Live. I don't lie about these things.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's all right.
Next.
Okay, so a bonus is Happy May 4th. It's a big day for the dorks out there. Right or wrong, you're a Star Wars guy.
Wrong.
Yeah, I know it's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're just doing this so they can show Disney stealing my likeness with Count Dooku, which still bothers me.
Still insane.
It's still insane how much. I mean, I deserve money for this, obviously.
Because there's no way that they didn't do it off of your face.
Of course.
There's no way that it's a coincidence.
Exactly right.
The hairline, the eyes.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's
now that
good.
is funny. They're putting on the screen our First Things First logo, but with Count Dooku there. Why are you guys showing this?
Because you're Count Dooku.
Oh, I didn't even see it. I just saw the stupid hot dog thing. Okay, yeah. Oh, wow. They have a lot of Photoshops here. This is well done. This is why you should watch the show on YouTube. The nose, the whole thing. I mean, it's a... Oh, look, Diorra, look. That's really...
I don't love that.
That's really good. That's really good, guys. But no, the only Star Wars I've ever seen is the one with Jar Jar Binks.
Jar Jar Binks.
And my parents took me to it right after they told me they were getting divorced.
Oh wow. Moving on.
That's true.
It's time for break, everyone.
They were no, I mean they were like, yeah, I was 14 years old. They're like, yeah, your mom and I'll never forget it. They're like, your mom and I are getting divorced. My sister's like, we already know. And I'm like, no, I didn't know. I broke down. My sister's like, can I leave? I don't want to be here.
Gosh.
So she left. And then my parents were like, all right, let's all go to a movie. And we all sat in the movie theater together. Me and my soon-to-be divorced parents watching Star Wars,
right,
the Jar Jar Binks movie. All right, quick break, right back. What's right?
Welcome to What's Right, episode 148. Next, we're gonna
read some listener questions and comments.
Okay.
You weren't quite ready for that little re-intro. You're like, oh, I'll do it. But
I said I'd do the B block.
But before we do that, let me send this tweet because we want to talk about something serious here just for a second. Anything you can do would be greatly appreciated. So when Diorra and I lived in Houston, when our family lived in Houston, up the street from us was this little boy named Marcus, who was he older or younger than you?
He's older than you.
Older than you, but you guys, we moved out of Houston in 2017.
Yeah, he was like my best friend though while we lived there.
Was your best friend while you lived there, and a really nice family that we really liked, and we were very close friends with his mom. And he had a bunch of foster siblings. Some with him for years, some in and out. That's what they fostered kids in this house. And
all girls.
It was all girls. So it was Marcus, his mom, his dad, and a bunch of foster girls. And we were close with this family. And Diorra has kept up with Marcus via social media in the years since we left. And I mean, Diorra spent a lot of time. Miss Beverly was the mom's name over at the house. So Diorra sent me a text yesterday with a link to a GoFundMe. And listen, we have never asked for any money on this show. I don't think we've ever done a charity thing on this show. But this is really heartbreaking. So, I'm not going to read the entirety of the story behind this. But the short version is, Marcus and his mom and dad split up. It seems to be on pretty ugly terms.
At first, it seemed to have been fine, but they recently got officially divorced, I think.
And it seems not great.
Yeah.
But Marcus and his foster siblings and the mom stayed in the house. The mom then had a lot of serious health issues. and some, again, I'll send out the link, some issues with the mortgage payments via the father, not via the father, and
because he had no rights to the house, basically.
Again, I'll let Marcus's words speak for it, but the short version is this: they are up against losing their house, having it according to him, put up by auction by the father, and being out. So it would be Marcus, his mom, who is not in good health, and all these foster kids, some of whom have lived there for years, and it's been the only stable home they've ever had. So anyone that knows the foster system, sometimes you bounce from house to house to house. You're in the foster system usually because of really tough circumstances. And they need a significant chunk of money in order to be able to keep the home. And so I'm going to donate some money after the show. Everybody's got their own causes, their own charities, their own things. There's obviously no obligation for anyone. But if you're someone that does, occasionally give to a GoFundMe or has some charitable money sitting aside, you're looking for a good cause, I will vouch for this family, this young man, now a young man, when I knew him he was a little boy, and this woman, his mother. They are really, really good people who have fallen on really, really tough times. And even if they don't reach the full goal of the GoFundMe,
at least they can use the money to find somewhere to stay.
Exactly. Use the money to get stable housing and do something. And these people were really, really good to you, Diorra.
Yeah.
Forever. And because
forever, yeah.
And if I may, again, and then we'll get to the listener questions. When we first moved to Houston, and for some of the time in Houston, I don't mean to embarrass you. I hope I don't. There was some times where you had tough times making friends, meeting people, and these people happen to be one of only maybe two other black families in on our block.
Less than that.
Maybe the only other black family in our neighborhood in Sugarland. Were really great, and I kind of feel badly that I have fallen out of touch, but if you can help, it would be wonderful. I have just now...
And anything helps, I think, as long as it...
$10, $100, anything that you could do would be helpful. I just tweeted out the link. I'm sure What's Right Show will also retweet it. And I'm not sure how the chat works. If we can, maybe one of our producers, if it's possible, can click on the link that I just tweeted and put the link to it in the chat. And now... Diorra, let's go ahead and read some of these chat questions if we can.
Okay. Rookie to Envy said, does Russell winning a ring with the Lakers change his legacy?
No. I mean, the Lakers winning a title this year, no one will actually say Russell Westbrook won a ring. And Kara, by the way, is going to put the link to the GoFundMe in the chat if anyone wants to click on it and do something with it. No. I mean, if he were on the team and contributing, that'd be one thing. But no, because he was on the team a few months ago, if they won the title, it didn't change anything. And the guy's joking. Next.
Joseph Nago asked, should the NBA reseed after each round or keep the bracket system?
I like the bracket system, but once again, I think you should be able to draft your playoff opponent. I think the 1 seed, once we have the full bracket set, the 1 seed should be able to pick from 5 through 8 who they want to play, the 2 seed, etc., etc. I think that's a way better system, especially since we now have a play-in tournament. All right, next.
Lambs asks, do you think a finals rematch would be vindication for all of those that tried to discredit the bubble?
Well, I think at this point, discrediting the bubble is, you just look like an idiot. Really, at this point, discrediting the bubble is just a way to try to discredit LeBron. So people are like, oh, it's a bubble ring, and it was odd circumstances. But there's 2 reasons that it never made sense. One was, it'd be one thing if the Lakers won because the thing with the bubble is there were no road games. Everything was a neutral site. The team that is hurt the most from that is the team with home court advantage. And the Lakers had home court advantage. So it'd be one thing if like an 8 seed won the title in the bubble. It's like, well, in a real season, they would have been on the road. The Lakers in theory, the number 1 seed was the most damaged by it. The Lakers won the title anyway. But the other reason you would discredit is if there were a lot of aberrant events. What was the Final Four in the bubble? Lakers, Nuggets, Heat, Celtics. The next year, the Lakers had the best record in basketball until they dealt with injuries. The year after that, Heat, Celtics was the Eastern Conference Finals again. The Nuggets are going to be back in the conference finals this year. The Lakers should be back in the conference finals this year. We might have the exact same Final Four this year as we had in the bubble. Discrediting the bubble was never about the bubble or the pandemic or anything. It was always just a way to take a shot at LeBron. Next.
Coach Mystic asked where you got your fit for today.
Well, I don't buy any of my own clothes, so let's find out together. Hold on. Oh, I know. This is Scotch and soda.
It matches your coffee cup.
Oh, it does match my coffee cup. How about that? Thank you, Coach Mystic. Next.
Jared Kerner,
maybe? Go ahead.
Jared Kerner asked, do you think Damian Lillard can or will end his career ahead of CP3 in your top 50?
I don't think he will. He certainly could. Right now, he's a ways away. I think Chris Paul is historically underappreciated. I think Chris Paul is a great player and a winning player. Incredibly winning player, even though he hasn't won. I think he contributes to winning. Peak Chris Paul contributes to winning at an all-time rate. So I really like Dame, but I think Dame's got a ways to go as far as career accomplishments to catch Chris Paul. Next.
Don Robino.
Oh, Don Rubino. I'm just going to read this. Are there more wheels or doors? I don't like these questions.
I think wheels.
Yeah, but there's no right answer.
No, there is a right answer.
Oh, we're not going to do this. Save this.
Wheels.
Save this for a TikTok. I'm not doing it.
Save this for a TikTok.
By the way, Dior, did you post that TikTok to my TikTok?
Yeah, it got no likes.
No likes?
Got like 30 likes.
I don't believe that. Have you checked lately?
Yeah, I checked before the show. Nobody appreciated me posting a TikTok on his account.
Diorra posted one of her TikToks.
Also point out that he told me to post it on his TikTok.
Yeah, that's fine. Diorra posted her TikTok to my TikTok. Hold on. How do I see? I don't even see it. It's not on there. Oh, there it is. It's at 190 likes. No, it's at 15 likes. Nobody likes it, Diorra. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, it's about time to delete that one.
Well, maybe people aren't checking out my TikTok. I mean, it's
about time to delete.
I've only posted 3 things ever, and I've never really posted anything. Someone new just liked it. You can follow me on TikTok at @GetNickWright. All right, what's the last one?
Nick Wright. Dusty said, "Happy Star Wars Day. What's right show? May the 4th be with you."
Okay.
Now I kind of feel bad because we called it a dork day like 10 minutes ago, and now Dusty's like, "Yeah."
Well, exactly. Yeah, I mean, big shocker. I mean, Dusty's great at his job, and the majority of the time a really great guy. About 1 out of 10 days, Dusty is, irritable, let's say. But usually a great guy, one of my favorite coworkers ever. But a self-proclaimed dork. He's not going to run from that.
That's
not
okay,
gonna hide
Dusty.
from it.
Me and Dusty are friends.
Dusty also tried to sell me yesterday on the idea that it is medically impossible to multitask. That it's not that, and then he tried to throw around credentials at me. He was like, well, actually, let me tell you why. It's like, okay, man, simmer down. Dusty does a great job on the TV show, though. I didn't really want to end the show like that, but I guess we've got to. Again, if you have the time or the inclination and want to help out our friend Marcus's family with that GoFundMe, that would be wonderful. You can find the link on my Twitter, at GetNickWright. You can follow me on TikTok, at GetNickWright. Do you want to promote your TikTok, Diorra? DeMonte promoted his Twitch stream all the time.
Yeah, I don't know if I feel like I don't trust the fans.
Wow. Wow.
You see, a bunch of the fans have been finding my Instagram. And sliding in the DMs.
Wait, what do you mean?
And they've got to get out of there, man.
What are they saying to you in your DM?
A lot of them were like, "Happy 18th. It's time now."
No, they were not.
Yes, they were. But don't worry, I blocked them. But guys, my TikTok is not Diorra with 3 A's in the name. And my Instagram.
Well, hold on. That was very confusing because you said my TikTok is not her TikTok is quote. Go ahead.
I think everyone got it.
It didn't. Say her TikTok is quote. Go ahead.
Not Diorra with 3 A's at the end of Diorra.
Okay, there you go. And you really want to give out your
my Instagram is dummytbh.
Okay, there you go. And if you slide into my 18-year-old daughter's DMs with anything other than show critiques or compliments, I'll hunt you down like the father in Taken. See you guys on Tuesday. What's right?
Bye.
Hey, it's Nick Wright. Thank you so much for watching. Please do us a favor. Click subscribe. It helps my ego, and Demonze's got a financial bonus writing on a number of YouTube subscribers, so help him out. And also, click the bell. I don't know what the bell does, but they tell me to tell you to click the bell. And your audio listeners, people that have commutes, drives, whatever it is, subscribe to the podcast as well, wherever you get the podcast. Same show, just in your ears instead of through your eyes. All that, check it out. Appreciate y'all.